Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ogbanje Joseph. Please subscribe to this channel, share, like, as well as drop a comment on the comment section. So today we are going to be talking about the impact of the transformation of OAU to AU on her objectives, the impact of the transformation of OAU to AU on her objectives or on the achievement of her objectives. Okay, so the Organization of African Unity, OAU, is an intergovernmental regional organization, of the African states with the exemption of Morocco, which opted out. Okay, so the OAU is also known as the Pan-African Organization. It was established on May 25th, 1963 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The name OAU was later changed on July 2002 to AU. It was initially established on the signature of OAU Charter by the representation of 32 states. The aim of the OAU was to integrate African states and bring dignity to the African people. Now, let us look at the transformation of OAU to AU. The move for creating AU, that is African Union, was initiated under the leadership of Libyan head of state Muammar Gaddafi, in the mid 1990s. After then, a summit was held in Sète, Algiers, on the 9th of September 1999 to address the issue. The summit concluded with a set declaration which saw the birth of the AU. Though the AU is a regional organization, it has a general coverage that cuts across political, sociocultural, and economic spheres. Now, let us look at the objectives of AU. Some of the objectives of AU are as follows. Number one, to achieve greater unity and solidarity between the African continent or within between the African countries. That's number one. Number two, to defend the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and independence of its member states. Number three, to accelerate the political and socio-cultural, socio-economic integration of the continent. Number four, to promote and defend African common positions on issues of interest to the continent and its people. Then number five, promote peace, security, and stability, of the continent. Now, what are the organs of AU? What are the organs of AU? Number one, the Assembly of the Union. Number two, the Executive Council. Number three, the Pan-African Parliament. Number four, the Court of Justice. Number five, the Commission. Number six, the Permanent Representative Committee. Then number seven, the Specialized Technical Committee. Number eight, the Economic and Social Cultural Council. Then number nine, the financial institutions. Now let us look at the achievements of AU. What are the achievements of AU? Number one achievement is peace and security in Africa. According to the BBC 2012, the AU believes that conflict must be settled before there can be chance of achieving prosperity. To this end, it set up a Peace and Security Council in 2004 to ensure peace and harmony within the continent. That is number one achievement. Number two achievement is political stability and promotion of democratic governance. Now, the AU has helped in the area of political stability and democratic governance. This is reflected in the restoration of power of the president of Sao Tome and Principe, Mr. Frederick Benzès in 2003, and the conduct of democratic election in Togo. Now, another achievement is the establishment of ADB. Now, the union has succeeded in the establishment of the African Development Bank, which has financed, and also giving loans to member countries, for the development projects. Okay. Now the bank was set up, to do the equivalent of the function of the World Bank. Number four, peacekeeping operations. The AU has been involved in peacekeeping and conflict resolution in Africa. The AU peacekeeping missions have served in Burundi, and AU ceasefire monitors have served in the Western Sudanese region of Darfur. AU force has also been deployed, to Somalia since March 2007. Okay, another achievement is the establishment of NEPAD. Now, it was the AU initiative to establish and oversee the new partnership, for Africa's development, NEPAD, in collaborative cooperation of the G8 and other Western collaborators. Now, let us look at these criticisms. What are the criticisms of the AU? Number one challenge or criticism is lack of strong financial base. The AU has no strong financial base, hence it solicits for external support. For instance, according to the BBC 2012, China paid for a new AU headquarters in Addis Ababa at the cost of $200 million, prompting some concern among African observers that China is trying to buy influence in the AU as it extends its economic, presence on the continent. Now, we should not also forget the saying that he who pays the piper dictates the tone. Okay, then number two challenge is lack of adherence to democratic principles. Under the peer review mechanism, AU members are expected to ensure that each other's governments adhere to democratic principles, but lack of political will has left some AU nations to be run by autocrats, even in democratic institutions. These leaders have committed war crimes and or human rights violations, of different degrees. Example is Sudanese President Omar Bashir, that the ICC has declared wanted. Okay, number three challenge is sit tight syndrome. Some AU heads of states have the penchant for staying in power till eternity. Examples of these leaders are Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe before he died, Paul Biya of Cameroon, Paul Kagame of Rwanda, etc. Now, President Hosni Mubarak of Egypt was forced out of power after being in power for 31 years, and Gaddafi was killed in power, after 42 years. Okay, so that is actually another challenge. Another challenge is no standing army. The AU has no standing army, as she relies, as she always needs troops from member states during crisis situation. Now, in this situation, the AU is at the mercy of its members, who determine their level of commitment to the organization. Now, this might be detrimental to the organization's goals and, of course, its objectives. Okay, another point to note, another challenge is that member countries are still ravaged by social problems. Now, the high level of poverty, illiteracy, and unemployment ravaging several African countries, have not been tackled by the AU. And this is one of the major challenges that is actually staring the AU in the face. I have been able to actually talk about the transmutation of OAU to AU. I've also talked about the objectives of AU. I've talked about the organs as well as the achievements of AU. I've also looked at the challenges of AU. Okay, so thank you very much.